Hello and welcome to Men Behind the Curtain, the podcast about everything and nothing all at once. I am Pitt.
I'm Eli. I hope y'all are doing well. This is actually going to be a special episode. We actually had somebody reach out to us. So we have an independent filmmaker based out of Chicago, or at least Chicago area, which he can correct me here in a second. But let me go ahead and introduce y'all to Mr. Will Adams. How are you doing, man?
How you doing, guys? Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, Will.
Chicago. Yes.
Okay.
Chicago. Yeah.
I wanted to check because where we're from, so we're in Dayton. And well, actually, this is a good example. Technically, it is Dayton. If you're from Dayton, neither of us live in Dayton. We live in Dayton area. So I was allowing you to, it might be Chicago to us, but to y'all who are local, it might be more Chicago area. So
I know
I was
what you're
giving
saying.
you space to correct me.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Some people say, "Oh, yeah, I live in Chicago." I say, "Where do you stay?" 147th Sibley. That's Dalton.
Yeah, good example. So, so this gentleman Will, so he actually has a independent movie. It is on the Plex app, which is a free app. Anybody can go watch it. It is actually called Tube E Movie, and I'm being very specific so nobody gets sued right now.
Well, no, you don't have to be specific because it's not spelled the same way, but you can pronounce it the way Tubi. It's Tubi Movie, pretty much.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, I really had fun watching this. It was something. It was something that, yes, it's one of those that we've talked about before. You know, an intentionally bad movie. When you say an intentionally bad movie, like, you know, there's Pootie Tang. There's like Let's Go to Prison, and. But this is what it was like. It's quote unquote real world. These are quote real people, unlike something like Pootie Tang. But it's like they're making mistakes, and there's always one self-aware character in the scene who calls it out. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Well, I want to jump in and say that Chris Rock thought Pootie Tang was the one. Until he saw it, because he, you know, that was his baby, and he was like, hey, "Well, I thought Pootie Tang was the one." I'm like, "Nah, that wasn't the one." So yeah, everybody is. I mean, you have one person self-aware, and I built it that way because I wanted the actors to break character, so they can say something as you're singing it, they're calling it out, and then he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not crazy," you know, and that way you laugh with us instead of at us.
One of my favorite ones though, it's I think around like halfway in the movie. They went and shot a dude in the hallway, and honestly, I don't even think they had a reason. They just did it. And first off, he's like, "All right, let me go and get down." And it was like he's still breathing. He said, "Pew pew." I'm like, he did not. Like that was probably one of my favorite shots in the movie.
So I'll just say it. The movie had metamorphed from people for the past 4 years posting bad scenes from movies that they find on Tubi, and they labeled these Tubi movies. Now, when they label them Tubi movies, you never know the name of these movies, so you have no clue what the movie is called. So it's just labeled a Tubi movie. So instead of creating a bad movie and doing the same thing they did, I created a movie based on everything that people posted. And it's basically the movie they've been promoting for the past 4 years, and just gave them what they've been asking for 4 years.
You know, I'm actually glad you said that, because I was wondering like how we landed on that. Because yeah, I've seen what you're talking about. Like, me and my wife have different algorithms, but she sends me some of that stuff all the time. Like look at the shit. Like they put it on this Tubi app, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are you familiar with this one author, Quan Mills? Are you familiar with him?
No.
He writes books that honestly sound like some of the stuff that they will put on Tubi. And when I say that, like it'll be titled like "Pregnant by My Homeboy's Baby Daddy." It's weird shit like that.
Wow.
So no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know what's going on my bookshelf next.
But you know, so people in other interviews I had, it's like, "Oh, you shitting on the filmmaker?" I said, "No, I am not shitting on the filmmaker. Not at all. I'm not talking about them, because at the very beginning there's a disclaimer, right? Did you see the disclaimer?
Yeah.
I did. I can't remember what it says off the top of my head, but
I remember what it says. This is a satirical piece, and if it resembles anything out there, it's purely coincidental. And if it does resemble something you made before, be a better filmmaker. That's the point. So, I mean, going forward, anybody that see this movie going forward, oh, let me check this movie. Oh, no, I shouldn't do that. Let me fix that. That's what they should be using this as a blueprint of what not to do, because they're not going to have actors that are self-aware, that are breaking character, saying, hey, what's that microphone doing right there? Man, it was just daytime, you know, that part.
I love that shot. It's like, it was just daytime. Man, you don't get early in the fall, like, or you don't get dark early, like no, hold up. There are limits to this.
Yeah. So the one thing that got me hooked was like from the very first scene where the couple was eating and nothing, you know, just taking bites, and their son comes in, who is clearly at least their age, if not older. And I was just like,
older.
Oh, he was
older. At least
so
20 or 30 years older.
Yeah, and it sold me. I was like, okay, yeah, because it you know, the whole concept of, you know, you're getting these older actors to play younger characters. Like, you know, there's been several movies out there where you've had a mother and son combination. I think even in Forrest Gump with like Tom Hanks and Sally Field. I mean, I think there was like a 10-year age difference between the two. But yes, she's playing his mother.
It's quite a few movies like that where some matter of fact, Sam Jackson, his father being what was that, Shaft? It was supposed to be his father. I'm like, they the same age. Hold on.
What it made me think of was Shawn Wayans and Lorenz Tate being father and son in Don't Be a Menace.
Okay.
And the whole time, like, he's sitting there, like at one point, he's like, I used to change my father's diapers all the time. I'm sorry, wait a second, what? So when I saw that actor, because yes, I saw that, it took me a second. He actually pointed out how they're sitting there with food, but they're not actually eating, and I didn't clock it at first. And I remembered how he mentioned this to me, and then I see he's going up with the fork. There's nothing on the fork. Like, but you got, like, just eat for real. You have it right there. But I guarantee you,
so good.
In those movies, they don't do that. They usually make them eat, and then they run it. The budget is messed up. Now they, instead of eating the eggs, now they're eating steak or a biscuit. You know, the food changes dramatically per shot, not per scene, but per shot. So, you know, I just, instead of doing that, just don't eat the food, just pretend. And then they mention it. What are you doing? Oh, what? No, this is good. What you do different? Now put it in my mouth like you are, you know. So
yeah. And I know we can relate to that a little bit. So me and him have talked about this before. Like, so we're actually part of an audio drama. And he mostly does like the sound design, but we also do voice acting on there. And we talk about consistency a lot. Like sometimes we have to do an extra, which I will get to this because I love the way y'all did it in there. We have to throw in an extra voice somewhere. And I'm trying so hard. Like, I've already used my natural voice earlier on this, so I don't want to use it again because I don't want that eagle-eyed, or in this case, eared listener to be like, hey, I've heard that before. And I love the way that you did that.
Well, they put us under a microscope. So if you think about Pulp Fiction, and I love Pulp Fiction, but every time he ran the scenes from a different person's perspective, it wasn't shot the same way. So if you watch it, I don't know. I was like, that's it. Nobody, I guess, because he Quentin Tarantino. But if I do that, I'm held up under a magnifying glass, and they're looking to see, oh, okay, well, he did that wrong. He did that wrong. He did that wrong. He did that wrong. Instead of saying, okay, well, we'll let it go. Nobody lets anything go when it comes to an indie filmmaker. You have to be on point. So that's the other thing. So when you see the multiple Tammys, like, you can't change characters because people are on you. They looking. I don't care if they looking on a TV or they looking on their phone. They looking. So you make sure you stay consistent.
Now, when you were filming, when you were writing the script and everything like that, were there particular aspects like the multiple Tammys or the very elder child of the couple or the different did you have specifics in mind on what you wanted to focus on, or did that come and more stuff develop as you were making the film?
So here's what happened. When I started when I thought about it, my first thought was to when I first talked to you guys was to make a bad movie. Then I said they'll cut my movie up and do the same thing. So I say, wait a minute, what if I make the actors break character, make it more self-aware? So then I reached out to a comedian, Damon Williams. He was like, yeah, me and my wife was just talking about that. Cool. So I started writing it. So as I'm writing it, it felt more like a sketch movie than a movie. So the hardest thing was trying to make sure it made sense and had a beginning, middle, and end, because I didn't want it to be a sketch movie. Because if you've seen Hollywood Shuffle is a movie, but it has sketches all throughout. And I didn't want that. I wanted story to story to story to story. Even though the actors are breaking character, I still wanted the story to continue on. So when I wrote the movie, I wrote it straight out. There's only one part that's improvised, which is the part with my daughter and I in the street when she has the cards in her hand. Yeah, that's the only part that's improvised. But when I created the script, I created it so people were giving me ideas, like Desmond and Jamar. They were giving me ideas, and I would take those ideas and morph them into something else that was specifically for the movie. Like I said, I don't want to make anything similar to anything that's out there, because I don't want nobody to think I was shitting on them, because I'm not talking about them. I'm just giving the people who post these clips what they want, which is a full movie. Make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, you answered a question I was about to ask, was just if there was anything improvised, because I know not everybody does it. Sometimes, we always hear about those stories, and of course the big budget movies, like, oh, and this scene was improvised, and it'll be like a really good scene, but something like this, you might not have room for that improvisation. So I was wondering if there was any of that involved here.
Well, no, just me, my daughter, and I. But what's funny about that is the comedians didn't have room to improvise because they were complaining about things that were going on set. So when you see Damon complaining about the microphone, there's the funny right there. Him just stopping and complaining. The gun, he complaining about that. So when you see Adele complain about the bedroom, that's the hospital room, she has no room to improvise. She only can work with what she has, because what she's talking about and complaining about is funny enough by itself. And pretty much the script does all the heavy lifting while they just do the work.
Honestly, you're making me want to watch it again, because there are things like that, like the hospital being in a bedroom. Like I kind of forgot about that. Like it, so actually that's one thing I would say, and I want to give you a compliment for, is that I think there's so much in there, so much, self-aware commentary and things like that. It has rewatch value, because there's so many jokes that, like, you're gonna have your favorites that you remember, but then there's other ones that almost not buried. I don't want to say buried, because that has a bad connotation, but like, you forget about it because you were focusing on these other jokes, and there's other ones in there. So I love when something has rewatch value. So I want to give you a compliment for that.
I think pretty much you laugh through the jokes, the other jokes, because that's what happened in the theater. When it was in the theater, I was watching people watch it, and I was like, y'all laughing through the next joke, and they'll laugh through two jokes, and then the fourth joke hit, and they're still laughing. And then what I realized is, after watching them, and I wrote a different script recently, I write according to the way people scroll. So when you're scrolling on social media, Facebook, Instagram, if it catches your attention, you watch for whatever, or you read, and if it loses your attention, you keep scrolling. So the way I'm writing is to stop you from scrolling, to stop you from trying to, or stop you from picking your phone up, because this is not a movie you can watch and have your phone in your hand. This is a movie you got to sit and you actually got to see, because the jokes hit hard. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. This is not something that I built so you can scroll and work on your phone. Just like studios, they build a lot of movies for television now, or streaming platforms. that you can just sit and scroll with your phone in your hand, which is pretty bad. And or movies it's basically a movie with a lot of exposition in it, where somebody narrating the whole movie. I saw a movie called Molly's Game. Never heard of it. It's about a woman who ran a illegal poker game, made it what do you call it? Made it legal. But through the whole entire movie, she's explaining everything you're seeing on screen. And that's irritating to me because it's like a book on video, not a book on tape, but book on video. So this is not that. Tubi movie is in your face. It's funny, just like when he was in the fake interrogation room. He said, "That's a revolver. I had an automatic," but it's still the same type of gun you saw at the beginning. Hey, so
yeah, and I love when he was pistol whipping him with a toy gun. There was so much going on there. Like, how did y'all get dressed so quickly? And then he's doing the pistol whipping, and he's not actually hitting him, and it's a delayed reaction.
Yeah,
like there's so much going on here. And no, to your point where you're saying like you almost miss certain jokes. I actually missed at first that this was the quote kid from the opening scene until somebody says something like, "Oh, he's only 16." What? Oh, that is the same.
But guess what? Damon said the same thing. He said, "Did you say he's 16?" By that time, you laughing. It's like, yeah, I'm saying the same thing. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't believe you talking to the TV like, yeah, I can't believe he was 16. Oh, I'm by myself. So
I was actually doing that. No, like my wife does this all the time. She'll send me, Instagram reels and stuff like that. Or if we're laying in bed together, she'll lean over and want me to stop what I'm doing and watch this. I'm doing that to her. I'm doing it to my 15-year-old son. I'm like, yeah, come see this shit. Y'all need to see this. And I especially did that with the hallway scene because I'm like, he did his own sound effects. Y'all have to see this.
Well, when you're going through and editing, I mean, because I'm sure you're doing multiple takes of these scenes and stuff like that. No, I was gonna say, how do you decide which scene you're going to use? But you're saying you don't do the multiple takes. So
no. So here's my deal. I don't do multiple takes. I just need one good take. I don't need 100 great takes. I need one good take so we can move on, so we make our shoot day quicker. So on an average, our shoot day is anywhere between an hour and 2 hours. Now I get there an hour before everybody else does, set up all the equipment. Then the crew show up, they grab the equipment, make sure it works. That's hour 2. Then hour 3, the actors show up. Then we jump right in. Now, what I've learned from my experience is the more we rehearse, the more tired they get. The longer we're there, and the quicker I lose that energy that I had in that first thing that they rehearsed. We get there, we start shooting immediately. Once we start shooting immediately, they give me a fire right off the top. Pretty soon, I'm like, all right, strike. They're like, what? But I brought lunch. I said, you can eat your lunch while we strike the set, but we about to go. we're leaving. So we're out of here. We're done.
So I actually like that. I like that approach. And of course, everybody who is a movie fan, we've all heard those stories about how they do 20, 30, 40 takes for something. And yes, that sounds exhausting. And also like
12 to 14 hour day. And I've done that before in my first movie. But as of recent, no, we shoot one scene, we put it together, we in and out probably 4 hours. Well, I'm out of 4 hours. They're out in an hour, between an hour and 2 hours. So it's me 3 to 4 hours, them 1 to 2 hours. And they can't believe how quickly we're done. And then, usually they're like, this ain't gonna be nothing. And they see like, oh, this is actually dope. I'm like, what'd you expect? I don't want to see you no longer than you want to see me. Let's get in here, get it done, and leave. That's it. So nobody has time to talk to each other. Nobody has time to lollygag. Everybody's working the minute they come in, and then they're leaving seconds later. So editing is not a nightmare for me because if we got a couple of takes that are bad, those are scrapped. It's always the last take. That's the best take, and I just grabbed that one and dropped it in the timeline and keep it moving.
Nice.
That's your answer to your question.
I can definitely appreciate that, and I would say like I kind of wish that more big budget projects would have some of that logic to it, because I I'm like, if you do 30 takes, ain't no way in hell they were all bad. Like, so like,
Yeah, it'll be 30 good takes, and then you gotta sit there and scroll through all. It's an editing nightmare for that. That's an editing nightmare. And they also, when you do stuff like that, you're also burning the clock on your production money. Like you standing there for 12 hours on one take. Now, granted, I have sat with somebody trying to get them to say their lines correctly for 45 minutes. Now, to my credit, or not to my credit, to not to knock something off of my own personal how I work, the person wasn't giving me what I need. And I'm not going to leave that person and say, all right, well, fine, we got what we need. We'll just keep it moving. No, you're going to give me what I need, and we're going to keep moving from there. So it was none of that in this particular. Everybody gave me what I needed. Everybody was handpicked. And I have a formula to when I get ready to create a movie, which is I write a script, grab the locations, grab the actors, because the actors always ask you, when are you shooting? That's it. They don't ask you where. They say, when you shooting. So if I did it any other way, they'll be like, when you shooting? Then I say, okay, I'll let you know. Then I say, okay, I'm shooting June 14th. Oh, I'm busy. But if I grab the location and say, these are the days, and they'll say, okay, I'm available, I'm not available, and we can move forward. But this one, I wanted all these particular people in this particular movie, so I had to work around their schedule. And that's why it took so long to shoot. It took about 6-7 months to shoot it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
okay.
Could have done it quicker, but working around everybody else's schedule.
Yeah, that is something else I know that we can relate to. More specifically, him. I mentioned to you like the audio drama that we do, and he sometimes has to chase people down for lines. So, yeah, I can definitely understand where you're coming from with that.
Which shouldn't be hard, because if you're doing just an audio drama, they should be able to drop their lines at any given time.
Voice actors are more conceited and time constrained than any other actor in the entire world.
Well,
you would think, because a lot of them you would think it can do exactly what you see me and him doing right now. I'm at my desk, I've got my microphone, I can just pull up my program, run my lines. You would think it would be that easy. For some people it's really not, and I don't know why, but you know what, I'm not here to I'm not having that conversation.
I mean, how many times have you heard me gripe over a particular individual that gave me 4 minutes of audio for 2 lines that were a total of 9 words?
And I thought of that too when you mentioned like all the editing that you have to do over like a 12-hour shoot when you only needed like a couple of scenes. That was immediately what I thought of. I wasn't gonna throw that guy under the bus.
But that happened, and a job is a job. So the guy that was talking to his wife on the phone, I don't know if you saw that. It's a short film that I got called "Job's a Job." He has literally 6 lines. It took us, 45 minutes is being generous. I think it took us an hour and 30 minutes to get him to say those 6 lines correctly. And at the end of Tender Looking Good, that's another short film. The very end, when it's just her looking over into the camera. 45 minutes, 4 lines.
So actually, you know what?
I feel your pain.
You know what? I'm
sorry. And you know what she said after that? She said, "Whoa, this is the hardest I ever worked before on the movie." It was 4 lines. It was 4 lines. 4 lines.
But no, what I was going to say, I'm actually glad you brought that up. So like some of the other ones that you've done, so like, can I find those also on Plex, or like what did we see some of those other ones?
LOKEKEY.com. That's my website. Takes you to everything.
All right, let me pull that up because I want to put that in the description here for the video. Yeah,
because what pops up first is Tubi movie and all the stuff you can see with Tubi movie, and then you scroll down and then you see the other movies.
Actually, you know what? Because I do have Tubi movie, and actually, for anybody who is currently watching us on YouTube, because we put this up, there's an audio only that we put up on a couple other platforms, but we always recommend YouTube. So actually, real quick, I'm just going to share my screen just for anybody who's watching this right now, because I want y'all to see, like, if you go looking for this, I want you to see what to actually look for. So like this is the actual poster and everything. Like you can see some of the stills for the actors and all
Oh, man,
that.
I love that orange. I really do. And I'm not a fan of orange because
I
it's
wasn't
Cleveland
either.
Browns color. So
Trust me, I wasn't either. The guy who made the poster, I wasn't. Trust me, I wasn't either. I wasn't happy with the orange, but everybody seemed to be okay because the title. I wanted the title to seem familiar because that's a Pulp Fiction font. If you look at it,
Oh, that's why it's familiar. Yeah, okay.
yeah. And then after the very first scene, that's Pulp Fiction. The way it opens up, the first scene with the titles, that's Pulp Fiction too. But it's not the same music, but it's Pulp Fiction.
Okay. And yeah,
that's a hat nod. That's not a it's not like I'm trying to pick a fight with nobody. I'm like, because I love the way Pulp Fiction opens up because it gives you the title, gives you the players, and then gives you the co-stars, and then we go into the story.
Yeah, and that's one I'm in the minority. Like I'm not really that big of a Tarantino fan. However, Samuel L. Jackson does not miss. So like the scenes that he has in that movie, I can't critique. And of course we've the iconic scene, English motherfucker, do you speak it? And which also
are you a Lawrence Fishburne fan?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So watch Pulp Fiction and think of Lawrence Fishburne delivering those lines. You know why I say that? Because Quentin Tarantino wrote those lines with Lawrence Fishburne in mind. Lawrence Fishburne didn't want to do the movie because he said it wasn't a starring role, which it was a starring role because everybody had the movie's full of different stories, different vignettes. So you the star of your role in that particular that scene you're in, but we go to another scene, somebody else might be the star of that role. Just like John Travolta's the star of his role when he's with I forget her name, but Mia Wallace. So, but if you listen to it, you can hear Lawrence Fishburne's voice in the lines. I know I can hear it. Not a lot of people pay attention to it. Not a lot of people know about it.
I can definitely hear it during that sermon speech.
Yes,
I can definitely hear that.
Yes, and I don't think he would have delivered like Sam Jackson did, but it was written for him. It wasn't written for Sam Jackson. And Die Hard with a Vengeance was written for Lawrence Fishburne.
Really?
Lawrence Fishburne was supposed to do it. He said, I want $1 million to do it. They didn't want to pay. They got the money, but they didn't want to pay him. So they said, hey, they went to Cannes to say, let's check this guy out this movie with Bruce, because it was in Cannes to check out Pulp Fiction to support Bruce Willis. And that's how Samuel Jackson got pulled in.
So that's one. Hindsight is 2020. I will acknowledge this before I say this. Saying that what Sam did in Pulp Fiction is not a starring role, technically, yes, he doesn't have like a lot of screen time in the movie, but it is the most memorable scene in the movie. It is the most quotable scene.
But he is a star of his scenes. So if you think about Tubi movie, the parents are not the stars of the movie. They are the stars of their particular scene that they're in. So Adele, when she's at the hospital room, she's the star of that scene. Damon, when he's in the car driving around, Damon and David, they're the stars of that scene. Falana, when she's going to catch her husband up, she's the star of that scene. So there's no particular stars of Tubi movie. They all have their different stories where they the star in that particular moment. So I'm not following all these one character around the entire movie because everybody else has stuff going on. You see that within the movie, the stuff that everybody else has going on.
And I also love the way that you kind of called that out again earlier on in the movie. The older couple is like, oh, should we go talk to them? Nah, we ain't got no story yet.
Yeah.
I love this.
We haven't established a good enough reason for us to be in the movie yet. Maybe later.
and that's one thing I love a self-aware movie, and this I'm saying this in regards to, of course, an indie film like this. I say this in regards to a big budget film, like we'll say, like, the Expendables. The Expendables knows exactly what they are. They know how seriously to take themselves, and they are
Mhm.
not reaching too far to be this classic movie. They know what you came to see, and so in this
Explosions,
case.
people get beat up. Yeah.
Exactly. And like with this one, like, no, we're not taking ourselves, like the one dude who's on the poster I'm looking at right now. He shaves his beard like toward the end of the movie. I can't wait for the shit to grow back. Like, like they're being very self-aware, and they know what you as the viewer are seeing, and I love the acknowledgement in that.
So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I
Oh
appreciate
yeah.
that.
I was laughing my ass off. It's like, this is
because
great.
because me saying it is different from you guys saying it. Because if I said like, yeah, here goes somebody else saying their stuff is good, but you guys saying it, people trust you over me. They know you. They don't know me.
Well, yeah, and again, I mean, with the same thing with us, being in a creative space and everything, like I can give myself a pat on the back all day long, but you don't know if I'm being genuine or if I'm trying to hype myself up. So no,
Correct.
I 100% I get what you're
Correct.
saying. Um,
Correct.
so let me ask you, so do we have anything to that we can look forward to, like any like projects you have like in pipeline?
Well, I have a series that I shot 3 concept episodes called Fluke. It's about an out of work actor who fails upward. So this is not anything that's still like Tubi, but he fails upward. So I don't know if you remember Three's Company where Jack always fail and he goes back, he starts back at 0. He This character Jay fails and he starts at 7. He fell again, he starts at 21. He fell again, he starts at 33. He continues to move forward in life just by pure dumb luck, because that's what the title is called, Fluke, dumb luck. And the continuation of plight of the independent filmmaker spins off into the movie, which is plight of the indie filmmaker, the movie. And we're planning on I'm in that movie, but I have to get it done because it's been sitting on the table for probably about 2 or 3 years. So I'm going to get that done and then hopefully move into This Ain't Pulp Fiction, which you probably heard the title in the movie and thought just talking about Pulp Fiction. We was talking about the movie This Ain't Pulp Fiction, which is the title of the other script that I have. Which
Okay.
usually I just set my movies up when I make something, I throw a title in there so you'll be ready for the next one when it come out. There's an Easter egg right there.
Okay. No, I like that. I like the kind of Easter egg and foreshadowing and everything. I like that. So I guess the way that so I remember those words. This ain't Pulp Fiction. I remember that being said. I couldn't
I'm
place
gonna
it.
tell you where I'll tell you where it is. When he was like, "How did we get up here?" He said, "And where'd you get that from?" He's like, "Oh, I got it from the house. The main reason why we went." He's like, "Hey, before we go in there, should we talk about our boss or some shit?" He said, "Man, this ain't Pulp Fiction. Come on." Well,
Okay.
that proves that I wrote the script. All right, that just proves that I wrote the script.
Well, yeah. Okay. That's a good point. No, the reason I was asking. So I guess with the logic behind it, is it something that you expect people to like? So let's say that I go back and I watch that, and then let me start that over because I phrased that badly. But so let's say that I watch This Ain't Pulp Fiction, and then I go back and watch Tubi movie. So I'm gonna catch that and I'm gonna make that connection. But
And you're gonna be
is that
like,
something that
"Oh,
so
damn! He told us he was making this before we even." Now everybody's tuned into like paying close attention to what I create because of the Easter egg. Something that's not usually there. Something that said like, "This ain't Pulp Fiction." Why would he say that? That's got to be the new movie. But I'm just telling y'all that. But in Plight, we talk about in the Plight, the web series that I got 2 seasons of. At the end of the second season, close to the end of the second season, we talk about This Ain't Pulp Fiction being created, the movie. So we
okay.
talk about that as well. So it's been out
So
there for a little while.
I guess where I was going with that, and I think you might have just answered my question here, was basically, um, is it something that like you expect people to pick up on, or it's just something that like we're just going to catch it if we go back and rewatch something?
You're going to catch it once the new one come out. And when, just like you just said, I can't place. I remember hearing that in the movie, but I can't place it. And that title pop up. It's like, let me go back and watch it. So what I'm doing is making my viewers smarter, because television has dumbed down everything so much. You can watch it without paying. You can watch it and keep up with the story without paying attention to it. I want you to pay attention to what I put out, because the time and the effort of putting something together, it deserves your full and divided attention, and you deserve a good product. So I'm not going to put out any trash, but at the same time, I need your eyes and your ears to be paying attention, so you can say, oh, okay. So then this ain't Pulp Fiction pop. I was like, I heard that in Tubi movie. You're not thinking about where you heard it. You know where you heard it. Wait a minute, is this the same?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the same dude that made Tubi movie.
Okay, yeah, no, I follow you, and that's what I was thinking. And you said something earlier and I have to agree with it, is if I can scroll on my phone while I'm watching it, then it's not that engaging. So
Correct.
I did love that, because as I'm watching it, it got to where, like, what the fuck is coming next?
Right. Right.
And I love the way that it's set up with that.
See, I'm gonna have to go back and read, because I'm watching and I'm seeing like the microphone in the shot, people switched up, not eating anything, and I want to go back and see if there's anything that I like missed.
If
like
you watched
that
it once, you missed a lot.
Okay.
I promise you, and then you're gonna probably email and say, "Hey, you were right. You were right. You missed a lot." Because a lot of times people laugh through the jokes, and I had to just get over that and be happy that they were just laughing. And they never stop laughing, because once they laugh through those jokes, another joke hit and they start laughing again. Those jokes.
Now, did you specifically choose comedians for Tubi movie, or
yes,
they just happen to be funny people to begin with?
No, I specifically remember I told you, I said I called Damon and asked him before I started writing the script. Then I wrote a Dale Givens apart, and then I sent her the script. And when I sent her the script, she was 17 pages in, and she texted me like, I'm 17 pages in. This shit funny as hell. And I'm like, okay, well, you didn't even get to your part yet. Because her reading the script was her telling me, hey, I want to do it. So I don't want to hear you at 17 pages saying it's funny as hell. That's good, but you still want to do it. So then, so the comedians were basically not for comic relief, but for levity. So people were like, whoa. That's a microphone right there. And then you're saying, yeah, that is a microphone right there. If you're watching by yourself, you might be talking to the TV saying it is a microphone right there. And then by the time you kind of like, wait a minute, we talking about the same thing. You actually laughing, and then the movie continues to move forward. So you didn't say anything about him looking outside the house and going back inside that and being in an apartment looking outside. You didn't say anything about that, because you probably laughed through it.
I'll be honest, I was laughing the entire time through it, so I probably did miss quite a bit. Okay. So, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wanted to ask you, from creators to another creator, you happen to be in a just slightly different media than what we happen to be. What is your biggest pet peeve, whether it is the independent side of the industry or the giant corporate side of the industry?
I would say the corporate side, because it's a lot of restraints. Like I'm with Buffalo 8 right now for 10 years with this movie. I can't move anywhere unless I talk to Buffalo 8 with it. The independent, you're just free range. Like I was able to do what I want to do with this movie without them saying change this. They made me change the trailer. They made me PG the trailer, but as far as everything else goes, the movie was it was done. So now when they saw it, it's like, okay, it was done. It's done. I'm not going back in there and editing nothing else. It's done. So then now they have to find people who want to get involved with it. They said Tubi didn't want it, but I guess Tubi didn't get the joke, but Plex did. So here we go. And Plex is Tubi's biggest competitor, so it works out.
Well, and honestly, I I feel like they probably missed out in passing on that one because I don't know if maybe they took it personal when it wasn't supposed to be, but it's like
Mhm.
y'all know what you have on your platform. So like
Yes.
having some fun poking fun at yourself. Like if you can't poke fun at yourself, then you shouldn't be in the entertainment industry. So
If you can poke fun at yourself, nobody can poke fun at you.
yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, hey, I'm glad that it did find some space on Plex. I anybody who's listening or watching, like if y'all have been listening to us for the last 40 minutes, like I do recommend watching us. But like I'm glad it found its home on Plex, but Tubi definitely missed out because that was a perfect opportunity to like for self-satire, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean the door's still open. They still can put it on a platform if they want. But and I feel like if they put it on a platform, it's gonna break their platform because people are gonna gravitate toward it. They're like, oh shit, they got Tubi movie on Tubi, and it's gonna it's gonna it'll make money for everybody. That's that. I mean, at this point, that's the name of the game. They trying to find out.
That's an easy marketing sell right there too.
Yeah,
It really is.
and they say, hey, tell them to change it to Tubi movie, and we got a deal. Done. 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 Spell it like we spell it. Done.
Yeah. That marketing writes itself. So that's definitely something that they should look into. I don't know if y'all are going to watch this, but if y'all happen to see this, like, look, we're literally handing you advertising at this point right now.
Yeah, pretty much. But hey, they don't want people. You what you have is what you essentially have what they essentially have right now is people going to the platform, going to one person going to one movie, cutting that one movie up, playing it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and then people from Facebook, Instagram, they don't get credit for that. Tubi doesn't get credit for that. Like when you have music, you play a song behind whatever you're saying on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. The artists get credit for that. They get paid from that. But when you do it from a perspective of you grab the screen grabbing, whatever, and you putting it on your page and you making fun of it, you just get people responding to your post and liking your post, which doesn't say anything about the filmmaker, which was why I said that we never know the names of these movies they making fun of because they're all dubbed Tubi movies.
Yeah. And actually, you know what? I just noticed something because I was like kind of looking for the website over here, which I did just find it. And I just realized that that's the emblem that you've had in your background this entire time.
Right under your nose.
Yeah,
right under
literally.
your nose.
So,
Right under your nose.
And once again, he keeps true to the whole point of this podcast is for the ADHD individual.
and well, no, actually, it gets better. I'm looking at the website right now, and it literally says to be passed. Plex didn't. So, like, which we literally just got done talking about.
Yep. See why? That's all. To be passed. Plex did. See why.
And yeah, so I'm seeing all the other ones that you're talking about here. Sex Ain't Love, A Job is a Job, Plight of the Independent Filmmaker. So I'm seeing all of that. Now this other one here, I had to have a chuckle at this one. So this one that says Tinder looking good. The actress y'all got over here, like it feel like she looks a little bit like Raven Simone for real. Not just like her, but like
that was a 45-minute ending. You remember I told you about the 45-minute at the end? It was 45 minutes. Yeah. For 3 lines. Yeah. And that was a short film too. That's a short. That's a short.
Which also I do want to call that out. So because we all live busy lives. If y'all are listening to this, well, first of all, we appreciate you. But the Tubi movie is an hour long. Like y'all can find an hour somewhere. Honestly, I should have found that a long time ago, but it would.
Well, I'm gonna tell you if they'll be happy to have that 1 hour taken from their life because it's all laughing.
Oh, I will absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's an hour of nothing but laughing. So there's nothing to lose there.
No.
Well, and the thing, I feel like it is almost like an accumulative effect. So in the opening scene, it is a little bit silly, it's a little bit ridiculous, and as the movie goes on, I feel like maybe it's more immersive is maybe the right descriptor I'm looking for here. You just get more into it and it's like, "Oh shit, they're like how much more ridiculous is this shit going to get?" So,
So did you catch the part at the very beginning when they were in the car and he said, "I got to go home," and then they just pulled over? Oh yeah, he's cracking up.
yeah, I did catch that. So, um, now I forgot about that until you said it just now, and that's one of the things I'm talking about that I think I have to go back and rewatch it because there are some things I did clock it, I did catch it. It just it's there's so many jokes in there that like it's easy to forget about a couple of them, which is I think why there's value in going back to rewatch it. And like I said, I love that rewatch value.
But I'm gonna tell you this: that the beginning of the movie. Remember, I told you not the first scene, not the opening scene, but the credits up to the car scene. That's all Pulp Fiction. I wanted it to feel familiar, so that's all Pulp Fiction. The way the credits hit, and then they're sitting in the car having a random conversation about just rappers, and then we go into the movie after the fact. So
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Pulp Fiction. That's Pulp Fiction. But I wanted it to feel familiar. So while you watching it, you're not saying, "Oh, this some bullshit." But then you was like, "This." You'll be stuck while you're watching. Like this seems familiar, but you don't know where how it feels familiar and where it's coming from. And then when I have this interview, I tell people, well, the second, well, the credits in the second scene is pretty much Pulp Fiction without the Royale with cheese. Royale with cheese.
Mayonnaise.
What they call Burger King? I ain't go to Burger King.
You know what they put on their French fries?
Mayonnaise. They drown the motherfuckers in it. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, like that one again, like Samuel L. Jackson, like I don't think I've ever seen a bad performance out of him. And what you said a little bit ago, I am shocked that that like Lawrence Fishburne passed like with Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's actually my favorite of the series.
His team told him to pass because they said they didn't feel like it was a starring role. So if you watch something with Lawrence Fishburne in it that has a lot of dialogue, and then watch Pulp Fiction, just the Samuel Jackson part, and you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about. You'll hear and since you guys do the audio dramas, that you should be able to definitely hear it because you rely on tone and cadence when people are speaking, so you can hear the lines. And it's like, this is how Lawrence Fishburne would have said this throughout the whole entire movie. As a matter of fact, when they in Die Hard with a Vengeance, when they in he's there, the little kids bring him the stolen radio, and that's Lawrence Fishburne all the way.
No, and the thing is I'm glad you mentioned it because that was actually just going through my head where the kid's like, "Uncle, there's a white man. I've seen one."
Yeah. Well, that's Lawrence Fishburne all the way. It was written for him too. Sometimes you write stuff for certain people, but they don't do it. But but at this point, I mean, Quentin Tarantino said that he got his flowers eventually because he did The Matrix and then went on to do other stuff, but it would have jumped off with Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, and Lawrence could have been really good in that. I will say, just in the case of Die Hard, and I'm only talking about Die Hard right now, I think Sammy was better for it because their chemistry, his chemistry with Bruce was incredible. So I would say that was probably the right call. Now, Lawrence,
listen to the dialogue. Listen to the dialogue.
I can definitely hear that. Well, and especially like Pulp Fiction, this was not. This could have been that far after like what's Love Got to Do with It. So he would have been going off of that movie into something like Pulp Fiction. So I can definitely kind of clock that a little bit. I can see how he would have transitioned from one role to the other. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino wrote it for him, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm not. It's not a starring role. I want a starring role." Like it's everybody's a star. Like Bruce Willis is a star in his role. I mean, his story. He's a star in his story. You know, Ben Rames is not a star in his story. He's a co-star in his story. But Bruce Willis is the star of his story. He's the boxer who basically beat somebody up. I mean, he didn't take a dive and then put a lot of money on himself and ran. Something similar to what happened to Ray J.
Well, but one thing I would say with that, and again, hindsight is 2020. But since we're talking about like with Tarantino, Jamie Foxx unquestionably is the star of Django. But if you talk about who do people remember in it, it's DiCaprio and Sam, who have like what 20 minutes of screen time, but they stole the fucking movie. So
it's just like Samuel Jackson was like, wait a minute, hey, fuck all that. Who's that nigga on that neck? That hit harder than anything that he could have said in the rest of the movie. Like, like, yeah, fuck all that. Who is that nigga on that neck? And then when you hear that's like,
when me and my wife went to see that in the theater, when he said that was so unexpected. We just fucking died laughing. Although one of my favorite parts of the movie was something I realized after the fact was, I swear to God, that was a real life version of the Boondocks episode, Catch a Freeman. It was the same fucking thing. And
I didn't see that.
You know, if you know anything about the Boondocks, then you know how intentionally offensive they could be sometimes. But basically, there were two different versions of like an ancestor they had who used. The good version was that he used to be a slave and then he went looking for his wife who was still, you know, enslaved. And if you know the Boondocks at all, I also made the comment that Samuel L. Jackson is basically Uncle Ruckus, which
that's wild. Maybe he got the characters from that. I'm not familiar with the Boondocks. I heard the Boondocks. People told me to watch the Boondocks, but I couldn't wrap myself around the time the Boondocks came on. So
the Boondocks, I mean, it was good for some of their social commentary. Like they did an episode just talking about the R. Kelly trial and making an absolute fucking farce of it. They had an episode, what if Martin Luther King didn't die, but he was in a coma and then he wakes up in current times and he's basically fucking disgusted with people right now. Regina King, she plays both Huey and Riley and a phenomenal job. Samuel L. Jackson and Charlie Murphy actually play a couple of white dudes, but it's still their voices, which is hilarious.
I mean, he did just play a shark in The Boys as well, so.
Who played the shark in The Boys?
Sam Jackson. He was a hammerhead shark.
For real?
Yep.
Huh, I didn't catch that.
So
I know the voice sounded familiar, but I didn't catch it. So yeah, get your ass in his what? Get your ass in. Come on.
That was him. Like, we gonna get you, motherfucker. Like, and really, that was it. Like, the whole time, it sounded familiar. I'm like, is that Sam? And then when he said motherfucker, don't nobody say motherfucker like Sam.
Yeah, he got dibs on that word. That's his word.
So, like, I clocked it, and I'm like, so I went on IMDb because I'm like, is it really him, or is it just a really good impression of him? No, that was really him.
I was thinking about going on IMDb to see who it was, but then my phone rang, and then I forgot. And I pressed pause because see, I couldn't watch The Boys and use my phone. I had to watch so I could pay attention so I wouldn't miss. Now, Invincibles, I would send out 60 emails while I was watching Invincibles.
I enjoyed Invincible, but I'm gonna be honest, it's all about the fight scenes. Anything that happens in between the fight scenes is not that entertaining.
Right, and it's all exposition, which is he's knocking all the buildings down in the city. The next scene, you see somebody knocking the buildings down in the building. I mean, something knocking the buildings down in the scene. And I'm like, he just said that. You know, it's just like when you watch a movie and they say, well, the bomb's about to go off in 1 minute, and then he shows the clock going 1 minute. Like, you could have just showed the clock and the bomb, and we get the point.
Actually, you know what? One thing I'm going to mention, because he asked earlier about like one of your pet peeves with the film industry. That is one of mine. Is that they're showing a countdown, but then the countdown doesn't match real time. Like it takes him 90 seconds to do a 30-second countdown. I hate that shit.
Oh, ballerina. He said he looked at his watch. I think it was like 5 minutes to 12. And he said you get, and that scene lasted for every bit of 20 more minutes. Yeah. And ballerina. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have that in a Tubi movie, but
I mean, hey, it might be something you can make fun of on the next one.
Oh, I'm not doing another Tubi movie. No. One and done, because then I become the Tubi movie man. So yeah, I got other stuff where I have regular stories. I'm kind of staying around comedy. If I get dark, but it's gonna be dark comedy, because everybody doesn't absorb drama the same way, because you might like hot chocolate, you might like coffee, and if you like hot chocolate and you like coffee, what ends up happening is if I try to switch it on you, you're like, ugh, but everybody likes to laugh. And since everybody likes to laugh, comedy kind of stays in until the platform builds up higher, and then I can expand. But right now, I stay in a lane where I'm making people laugh and bringing more people over, so I can make sure I keep them motivated to see what else comes out next. Because I tried with Step Off the Block, and Step Off the Block, it's a different kind of drama. If you don't know any street kids trying to deal with whether they're going to be bad or good, that doesn't resonate with you. Just like if somebody's in the office having trouble with their boss, that don't resonate with you. Molly's game, where she's a poker, has illegal poker games. The story resonated with me a little bit, not because I'm illegal, but just her story in general. But the exposition was there, where she's completely explaining everything throughout the whole entire movie. So, but it was some fun. It was some dark comedy in that. So that's what kept me hooked. So funny is a thing that keeps people coming back, because people want to be able to laugh at somebody else aside for themselves. And Tubi movie helps you do that.
And unfortunately, we were pretty close to almost out of time. So, Will, before we go, thank you for joining us on Men Behind the Curtain. Is there any way that people can reach out to you, send you questions, fawn over you and your work or anything like that? How can people get in contact with you, or is there a particular place they can go other than Plex and other things of that nature that haven't been mentioned, where they can go check out your work or get ideas of what's coming up?
So lokekey.com, that's my website. You see the work, you scroll down, you see all the social media that you can attach yourself to holler at me about anything and everything that you want to talk to me about. And also you can go to, I think, the last page, and that's where you can just email me and contact me.
Very good.
At the very bottom, it scrolls past. You got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, which I didn't even know LinkedIn was on there, but cool. But yeah, you have all of that, where that's the easiest way, because it's not like Sway's universe where it's like Sway on everything. I don't have Will Adams on everything. So on Facebook is facebook.com / Chi-Town Will. On Instagram is Will Adams Chicago. On X is WWA Video. I don't even know what it is on TikTok. And I think just Will Adams on LinkedIn. I don't even know how to find me on LinkedIn unless I'm logged in.
Yeah, that's fair, especially if it's a business page. But yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming up here. I'm definitely going to be looking at some of those other projects that you got. I absolutely am going to be watching Tubi movie again, because I'm wondering how much I missed. It is a good time.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one. And as our usual sign off here is, we will see you next Tuesday. So
be you.